man, this movie left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. I'm trying to think of what it tastes like. It's kind of a, oh, I know, it's a disappointment. Batman vs. Superman is the new highly anticipated film from Zack Snyder. It stars Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Gal Gadot, Jeremy Irons, a couple other names in it. It picks up right where Man of Steel left off. Batman was in Metropolis when the final fight was going on, and one of his buildings was destroyed by Superman. As he's there witnessing the destruction, it kind of spawns a hatred in his heart, and he gets this bloodlust and this strong desire that Superman is a bad guy, and that he needs to personally make sure that Superman can't hurt anybody else. And so I'll get started with the positives, and that first off is Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck does an incredible job as Batman. There's enough here that's new and interesting so that we don't get bored, but it's not so different that it's going to alienate any audience members. It's just enough to keep you intrigued. I personally enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like there is going to be a lot of angry comic book fans with this movie, especially with Batman, because he's killing people in this movie. He's got guns, he's shooting people, he's not afraid to use the bad guys' guns. He's got these 50 cal machine guns on his Batwing that cars are blowing up, and people are almost definitely dying at the hands of Batman. And the movie doesn't do a lot to explain why this Batman has such a different moral compass than the other Batmans, or what's happened to his moral compass that's eroded away and caused him to be like this. I did think Gal Gadot did an amazing job for the little part she had in this movie as well. It got me very excited for a Wonder Woman movie in the future, and I think that as long as they actually focus on that movie, they'll do a really good job. I'm cautiously optimistic because this movie was disappointing. I did like the fight in this movie, the fight that it's all building towards, Batman versus Superman. It was good when it got there. The problem was I checked my watch when we got there. It had already been 90 minutes before the fight itself started. This movie did not need to be 2.5 hours. They could have easily cut 30 to 40 minutes off of this movie, and it would have made it a lot tighter and a lot more enjoyable. And the narrative is all over the place. The way this film's edited and the way the story goes, each scene going from scene to scene is like smashing through brick walls at every scene. It's hitting you in the face every single time. It doesn't run very smoothly, and it really bothered me a lot. One of my favorite comments I've read about this movie since it's come out is somebody said that there wasn't an after credit scene, which there's not, and somebody else described it as half the movie is after credit scenes. They're so worried with setting up future movies and setting up a DC cinematic universe that they don't focus on making a good movie now. All they're worried about is setup for other movies, which might be a good marketing strategy. It might make good money, but it doesn't leave us entertained in the theater right now. It left me disappointed and feeling empty and like there wasn't really anything going on for half the movie. Some of the characters, like Alfred especially, Alfred shows up in the beginning and he's great. He's amazing. It's fun to watch, and the dynamic between him and Batman is really good. And then he disappears for 45 minutes, and then he's back again for one scene. And all these characters are just coming and going, and there's no depth to them. They're just there to be side pieces to this bigger story, but the bigger story isn't interesting enough to make us care about the side pieces. And then the setup itself isn't even necessarily as good as it should be. They're focusing on setting up future movies, but the setup scenes are just lazy. They have a scene where they set up basically the entire Justice League, and it has got to be one of the laziest storytelling devices I've ever seen. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. The whole scene, it was just bothering me, and I wanted it to be over as soon as it started. I am admittedly not a huge comic book fan. I don't know a lot about the character of Lex Luthor. A lot of people are worried about Jesse Eisenberg's performance, and a lot of people aren't liking Jesse Eisenberg's performance. Since I'm not a huge comic book fan, I enjoyed his performance for what it was, but I can definitely see that it wasn't really Lex Luthor. If you go in and you don't expect to see Lex Luthor on screen, you might be able to find some parts of his performance that are actually pretty good, but if you're going in expecting Lex Luthor, then you're going to be disappointed in that as well. The last hour of this movie, when it gets to the climactic fighting sequence, it is good. The fights are good, the action is good, and the score in this movie is incredible. Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL do an amazing job. Wonder Woman's theme, particularly, it got me really, really excited to see Wonder Woman. The problem I have is I already knew Wonder Woman was going to be there from the trailers. I could go on a whole nother rant about this altogether because I hate modern trailers. I feel like too many modern trailers spoil way too much of the movie, and I feel like this movie is the poster child of that problem. From seeing the trailers, I knew every big moment, and all the enjoyable moments that happened in this movie, I felt like I'd already seen in the trailers. The parts that they left out of the trailers were the parts I was disappointed with. And so I couldn't get as excited for the exciting parts as I should be because I'd already seen them. And then the rest of it just left me disappointed. So at the end of the movie, nothing really got me excited. The closest I got was hearing Wonder Woman's theme for the first time. It was so good, I actually did start to get a little bit excited, and I thought, okay, this is cool. But I can only imagine what that would have been like had we not known Wonder Woman was going to be in this movie. And when she shows up and that theme starts going, I would have been jumping out of my theater seat in excitement. I would have been ecstatic. I would have been bouncing off the walls. But I knew she was going to be there, and I knew she was going to come and help in the fight because I'd seen the trailer. And so she showed up, and I said, yeah, I knew that was going to happen, and here we are, and it's happening now because I knew it was all going to be here, and I just could not find myself being able to get excited for it. The last hour does have a lot of things to enjoy, and the fighting is good. I enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman immensely. I think he's one of the better Batmans we've had. Zack Snyder is a good director. It's beautifully shot. It's just the narrative issues throughout make it so hard for me to enjoy. I can't get this movie past a 3, and I think I'm going to have to give it a 2.8 out of 5. There were parts of this movie to love, and what this movie did well, it did incredible, but just too much of it left me disappointed that I couldn't get it past a fresh. But I hope a lot of people go see it, and I hope a lot of people have fun with it, because there is a lot of excitement for this movie, and nothing sucks more than to be excited for something and have it be a letdown. So I hope a lot of people are enjoying this movie. I personally did not as much. As usual, you can check out all my links below. Be sure to go check out my friend Jose. He made that intro music for me. I put his SoundCloud in my descriptions. Go check out his music. Check out my Twitter and my Facebook page. And thank you for watching.